Okay, so today we're going to continue learning about human evolution. This timeline is looking at ancient ancestors of modern humans. We didn't necessarily evolve from all of these species. However, we do share a common ancestry from them. We're going to talk about each of them. All right, so to be very clear, this image that you're seeing over here, up here at the top, this is not your family. While you did come from your father, you didn't come from your cousins. You didn't evolve from your cousins. You share a common ancestor with your cousins, which happens to be your grandparents. But your cousins have different parents than you do. So you didn't come directly from your siblings or your cousins. You just share a common ancestor. The ancestor that you share with your siblings is obviously your parents. The ancestor you share with your cousins is your grandparents. Well, this idea is also true for evolution. Salamanders did not evolve directly from fish. They share a common ancestor with fish. And as we learned in classification, what we're looking at in this image is a cladogram. Cladograms are based on shared evolutionary relationships, so shared evolutionary physical traits. So there's a common ancestor for all vertebrates, and from that common ancestor arose fish, amphibians, mammals, including humans. However, fish do not have 4 legs. So there's a common ancestor for all of the organisms that have 4 legs, including amphibians and mammals. However, amphibians do not have mammary glands. Therefore, we did not evolve directly from amphibians. Although we share a common ancient ancestor that was a 4-legged organism, we didn't evolve directly from amphibians. So how do we study human evolution then? Paleontologists study fossil primates and then they compare them with living forms. So they're basically looking at fossils and comparing them to organisms that are alive today. How are they similar? How are they different? Similar to the hominoid lab that you've conducted. Archaeologists and anthropologists study ancient tools as well as culture. So they're looking not only at the fossils, but they're looking at the tools that are found near those fossils, indicating that the organism used those tools. And also, what was the culture of the fossil that was found. So some fossils have been found in caves where there's art found on the walls, and that gives a little bit of an indication of the culture of the organisms. And also examining DNA. As we've talked about, DNA is evidence of evolution. So molecular biologists are examining DNA of different species to look for similarities and differences in order to better understand how closely related 2 organisms are. It also helps scientists to put fossils in chronological order to know which fossil is older than another fossil. So here's a cute little comment. I'll let you take a look at that. Next question. Where and when did humans evolve? Well, the general consensus is that Homo sapiens evolved from an ancestor that we share with primates such as chimps and apes. Again, we did not evolve from apes. Please understand, we did not evolve from apes. We did not evolve from chimps. If anyone tells you that we evolved from chimps, they're wrong. We didn't. We just happen to share a common ancestor. Just as we share a common ancestor with amphibians, a common ancestor that had 4 legs, we obviously did not evolve from amphibians. We also did not evolve from chimps and apes. We just happen to share a common ancient ancestor. The consensus in the scientific community is that Homo sapiens did evolve in Africa and began to spread out around the world. There is a lot of evidence that supports this idea, so it is the theory that is most widely accepted in the scientific community. Homo sapiens first appeared about 500,000 years ago, which is the blink of an eye in terms of Earth's history, as you should know from the scale timelines that you did. When you were creating those scale timelines, modern humans couldn't even fit because we evolved so recently. And over 60 million years after the dinosaurs went extinct. So there was a lot of evolution happening, a lot of mammalian evolution happening in between the time that the dinosaurs went extinct and the time that modern humans first turned up on the scene. We've accomplished quite a bit in 500,000 years in terms of evolution. So what this map is looking at is the spread of modern humans out of Africa, and you can see the consensus is that we began in the Great Rift Valley, which is this red area right here. There have been some of the oldest fossils of modern humans have been found in this area. This is kind of the Great Rift Valley, and then this is getting down into South Africa. And then slowly over time, modern humans began to spread out of Africa into the Middle East and Southern Europe, Southern Asia, and then moving north and east from there until eventually ending up in North and South America. And this is a skull of an ancestor of modern humans. Okay, so let's take a look at primates first, because we do share a common ancestor with them, and a fairly recent common ancestor in terms of evolution. As a group, primates share several important adaptations. We have flat faces, and our snouts, our noses are reduced, so our noses don't stick out very far in comparison to other organisms like cats and dogs. Our eyes are directed forward, which gives us binocular vision for depth perception. So we can look at two bodies of water, and we can understand that one is an ocean, which is quite deep, and one is a very shallow puddle. In order to be able to do that, we have to have our eyes looking at the same object. This is why horses get spooked very easily by water, because their eyes are on the side of their head and they don't have depth perception. So they don't know if it's a very deep ocean or a very shallow puddle. Also, we see in color. Mammals see varying degrees of color. So cats tend to see reds and I believe it's yellows, but they don't necessarily see the full spectrum of color as humans do. And also, humans only see one spectrum of color. We don't see, for instance, UV or infrared. Those are different spectrums of color. We have flexible fingers that we use for grasping, for instance, picking up a cup. We can rotate our shoulders all the way around, which is wonderful if you're a swimmer or if you're a pitcher. And we have nails, lovely fingernails. Well, mine aren't so lovely right now. They need to be repainted. But we have lovely fingernails that we can do all kinds of things with. We can decorate them, make them look pretty. We can also scratch and itch ourselves. We do not have claws, which is wonderful for hugging. Claws aren't so good if you're trying to hug. Just ask my cats. We have complex large cerebrums, which are our brains. For humans, this is our largest evolutionary advantage. We use our intelligence, probably more than any other species on this planet. We have very extended maternal care for our young. Typically, primates have only one offspring at a time. This is true for all primates. And we have two mammary glands, both male and female. With the female, the mammary gland becomes developed during puberty, and for the male, it never develops. Extended maternal care varies by primate. Some primates, it's a year, it's a few years. For humans, we have very extended maternal care. There isn't any other known species that will care for their young as long as humans do. There are some that come close, but none that care for their young as long as humans. We are legally obligated to care for our young until 18, but most humans will continue to care for their young well into their 20s and continue to provide a source of support for their entire life. And we also have very complex social groups and behavior, as I'm sure all of you are very aware, being high school students. I promise you will outgrow it. All right, members of the primate order. Prosimians, which include lemurs and aye-ayes. They tend to be nocturnal, and they have large eyes, which are well adapted for seeing in the dark. Anthropoids, which are human-like primates, they include New World monkeys, which tend to have tails. These are monkeys that are found in Central and South America. They are arboreal with grasping tails. Arboreal means to be living in the trees, and the grasping tails help them to grasp the branches, which frees up their hands so that they can eat and play and do all the things that they do with their hands. And then there's Old World monkeys, which tend to be tailless, such as baboons and macaws. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Excuse me. They don't have tails for grasping. Some are arboreal, some are not. And then the great apes, which we belong to. This is the order of primates to which humans belong, hominoids. These include gorillas, gibbons, orangutans, chimps, and humans. Again, we did not evolve from chimps and apes. We just happen to be part of the same order. This means that we share a common ancient ancestor, but it does not mean that we evolved from gorillas and chimps any more than you descended from your cousins. All right, so what we're looking at here are some examples of primate orders. This would be orangutan. Okay, so what we know about hominid evolution, and hominid is a term that specifically relates to modern humans. Hominoid just includes any of the great apes. So some terms that we know: the common ancient ancestor lived sometime between 4 and 9 million years ago.